Let's go to San Diego, California next. Kaylee joins us there. Kaylee, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Kaylee, I'm living the dream. What's going on with you?
Well, I'm in a bit of a bind.
Okay.
I have, for the past 3 years, been working as an event planner at a luxury hotel in San Diego, which has been wonderful. I love the people. I love the hotel. One downside is historically it just hasn't paid very well, especially when you live in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the opportunity during COVID, after I was let off, to decide to go into real estate. And I've just started classes and kind of had the opportunity to pursue something that would compensate me more. Now I know, of course, it's going to take years to build clientele and things like that, but I'm up for the challenge. So I kind of gotten that in my head that this is a new path. I'm really excited about it. But then I was also offered the opportunity to go back to the hotel part-time, very part-time, for significantly less pay, which I, was excited about. I've just been wanting to work, figured just good to keep a foot in the door. A couple months later, I find myself, I'm there almost full time now. I have a lot more responsibility, and I'm still getting paid half of what I was before.
Oh, my goodness.
So I guess I have two questions.
Okay.
Is I love the hotel, and I love event planning, but I know that, I currently am single, and it just hasn't paid enough to support myself.
Right.
Which has been something that I have, fought with, because I do love it, but if, you can't pay your bills, then you can't pay your bills.
Right.
Secondly, now that we're, kind of going into this round 2 of COVID, and, the small number of employees at the hotel are starting to have their hours reduced again, is it appropriate for me to say, listen, I'm not doing the job that I was hired to do at this, salary that you're giving me?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's address this. Let's address this one first, this question. And I understand you're using the word appropriate, but I think the question needs to be, what do I need to make, and can I make it somewhere else? Because right now we're trying to make some decisions on your future and the big picture and the mountaintop you want to climb.
Yes, exactly.
But you've got some financial challenges. So, you wanting to leave is great, in the sense that, yes, I don't think you need to be there much longer just because of all the reasons you just gave. I mean, you've got a lid on you. And so I don't ever want somebody to stay in a place where they've got a lid. However, I would stay there until you replace that, at least that income, or replace what it was before, where you still felt you were not making enough.
Okay.
So first things first, because I can hear the emotion in your voice and it's reasonable and I understand that. You're just exhausted emotionally, probably scared as well. Let's just get you stable financially. And the fact that you're single does take the pressure off a little bit, in that you have less to provide for, obviously, but also if you got to work 2 or 3 jobs for a 2 or 3 or 6 month period, that's okay, because it's not the end of the world. Okay.
Here's actually the thing: is financially I am stable because I've been living with my family.
Oh, good.
Saving for a down payment. Which I have.
Okay, great. That's good news. That's information.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
In my mind, I act like I'm not, because I go off of what my paychecks are.
I understand.
But I am financially stable.
Okay, so that's great news.
Yeah. So now I'm like, do I just really say, listen, like I tried here, and
it's not the hotel space.
Right.
So yes. Now here's where I want to challenge you, though. I think event planning is something that you're deeply passionate about. I might go so far as to say it sounds like it could be your dream job, but I don't think it's event planning in the traditional hotel space. I think you might be doing the right type of work, but in the wrong place. And I think now, again, COVID and California and event planning, that's not a good sentence.
Right.
So we got some serious asterisks around this conversation. But in a normal period of time, which I hope that the entire nation and quite frankly the globe gets to a point where we start to see live events become a normal thing again like they were, I think it's going to explode. Because I think
absolutely.
You know it's going to.
Yes.
So
People
what can you
celebrate.
So what can you do now to position yourself so that you get back into event planning, if that is in fact the thing, but it's not in the hotel environment where you're capped from a corporate thing, but more what I'm going to call your small business event planning, where maybe you go to work for somebody who essentially pays you and trains you how to run your own event planning business, and maybe that's your jam one day. I don't know.
Right. Well, I actually did. It's funny you say that because my background is weddings. And
good.
So I did weddings for a small business. We did a wedding at the hotel that I currently work at, and I was like, okay, I want to work here. I want to do weddings at this hotel. That's the dream job.
Perfect.
So I got myself to that hotel, worked there for 3 years, loved everything. But the issue with that is there's one wedding planner there. She's been there for 12 years. She's amazing, but she's not going anywhere.
Right. So here's the deal. You're doing the right thing in the wrong place.
Okay.
That's one of the 4 categories that people get when they take my free Should I Quit My Job quiz at kencoleman.com. There's a lot of you need to take that quiz. Because if you had taken it, Kaylee, it would say that. Essentially what this means is you love the work of event planning, but you're capped. You've got a lid.
That's the whole issue. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, but listen, but
fair.
you're not capped. You're capped as long as you choose to stay there. But the good news is you're not a deadbeat who's living with their parents. You're doing the smart thing in the midst of a pandemic that has artificially shut down your state's economy and many states' economies and many economies around the world. Mm-hmm. But once things open up, that's going to be a very lucrative world for you to where I think you can make good money. And more importantly, you'll see a ladder that you'll go, okay, I may make this amount of money for this amount of time, but if I stay in it and get more experience and eventually maybe own my own event planning company that does weddings and birthdays and retirement parties and anniversaries, and then maybe we dip into small business events and maybe even some larger corporate events. And guess who's in charge? It's Kaylee Events Inc., right? Maybe that's the vision.
And that's something that I thought about too, kind of before I got into the hotel business. But the reason I got into hotels was because, being single and needing to provide for yourself, I thought that was, it was safer. I would have insurance and everything like that. Whereas when you have your own business, but to kind of piggyback off of that, there are successful small businesses. One I actually reached out to a few weeks ago, and she wants to bring me on as a consultant. So
hello, Kaylee, stop,
my whole issue.
Stop, Kaylee. I'm on Team Kaylee. I am the chairman of Team Kaylee right now.
Okay.
Stop making excuses or coming up with reasons why you wouldn't do that. I would go work for that person because my guess is it's going to pay you at least what you're making now, which is way underpaid, or if not more.
Okay.
And guess what? You're financially stable. You got a lot of money saved up that you don't need to touch. You don't need to buy a house. I'd stay with mom and dad until this thing chills out. There's no shame in your game. And I would go work for this event planner and get out of the hotel and just free yourself.
That was that's my main question.
I know it was. That's why I interrupted you.
I know. I've got the fire and I've got the drive.
I know you do.
But it's like I find myself at that hotel and I just get sucked in.
No, you need permission.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what else you need? A push.
Yeah. No, I know.
I'm giving you permission to do it.
Safe. I'm a safe person. So
no, but guess what? Safe has gotten you.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
You're miserable.
I'm not miserable.
Yes, you are.
I'm tired of seeing other people that I'm like, I just am like, I know that I.
Okay. Tomato. I want you to own the fact that every time you get that paycheck, you've got a form of misery. Is that true or false?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, 100. Okay. Now Ken's right.
Yes.
You got to, Kaylee, you got to own this.
Okay.
You are playing it safe.
My question is, I need to aim bigger. That's what I've been asking myself.
what you need to stop doing is making excuses and then telling yourself that it's safe. Your excuses are what's holding you back, not because you're a safe person.